Wealth, real wealth, is not found in the bank account. It's not parked in the driveway or hanging in the closet. It's built in the mind long before it's manifested in the world. But here's the truth they never told you. You don't just get rich. You become rich, and not by accident. You build it brick by brick with sweat, obsession, and relentless alignment. The world will tell you to work hard, but hard work alone is not enough. Ants work hard. Machines work hard. Hard work without direction is just exhaustion dressed in ambition's clothes. You want wealth? Then you have to decide. Not wish, not hope. Decide to live a life that defies average. Because everything changes the day you stop asking, how can I make more money? It's like Truan. And start asking, what kind of person must I become to attract the life I crave? It starts in the mind. Your mindset is the seed of your wealth. Plant poverty, and you'll harvest just enough to survive. Plant power, and you'll reap beyond generations. So what do you believe about money? About work? About yourself? Because no strategy in the world will save you if deep down you believe you're not worthy of abundance. You have to reprogram the story. Wealth is not evil. Desire is not greed. And wanting more is not selfish. It's sacred. Because when good people get rich, they don't buy bigger problems. They build bigger solutions. But you'll never attract wealth with a poverty mindset. You'll never step into freedom if your soul still clings to limitation. And you'll never earn what your identity cannot handle. So if you want to motivate yourself to work hard, don't just chase income, chase inner calibration. Wake up every day and ask, what version of me must show up today to build the future I said I wanted yesterday? That question alone is worth millions. Because motivation doesn't come from quotes. It comes from clarity. If your vision is vague, your drive will drown. But if your vision is crystal, if it lives in your bones, if you've tasted the freedom, the impact, the legacy, then work doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like worship. You stop grinding and you start building. You stop pushing and you start aligning. You stop needing a reason because you are the reason. But let's be clear. Wealth is not owed to you. It doesn't respond to intentions. It responds to intensity. It demands sacrifice. You will have to let go of what is easy. You will have to walk away from people who love your comfort but fear your growth. You will have to kill distractions like your life depends on it, because it does. Every day, you are either investing in your future or robbing it. There is no neutral. There is no pause. Time doesn't wait, and neither does success. So what are you choosing? Comfort or conviction? Distraction or direction? Pleasure or purpose? You think you need motivation. You don't. You need a reason, a fire, a vision that makes your excuses beg for mercy. You want wealth? Here's the truth. You must earn the right to handle it. Not by waiting, but by working intentionally, intensely, and relentlessly. And the moment you make that shift, the world starts to respond. Opportunities bend in your direction. Doors appear where there were only walls. And money becomes a servant to your vision, not the other way around. Because this is where it gets real, where desire meets demand, and your dreams are tested in the fire of daily choices. You want to be rich? Not just rich in money, but rich in freedom, rich in influence, rich in life. Then understand this. You must become a different breed. Most people want more, but they're still thinking like the poor, still moving like the comfortable, still living like they have forever. But wealth doesn't come to the wishful. It comes to the warrior, the one who wakes up and declares, I don't work to survive, I work to dominate. Because domination is not about greed. It's about mastery. Mastery over your time. Mastery over your emotion. Mastery over your direction. Every day, ask yourself, am I working to escape my current life? or to build the one I can't wait to wake up in? Because if your fuel is just fear, stress, or obligation, you will burn out. But if your fuel is vision, if it's that sacred picture of your family never having to worry again, of your days being yours, of your name being whispered in rooms you've never entered, then you'll move with fire. You'll go beyond tired. You'll push past fear. You'll build when everyone else is binging, because you know something they don't. You are not just working for money. You are working to become a magnet, a force, a standard. You are working to earn the future. And that means you show up even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because feelings are liars. They want safety. They want comfort. They want applause. But wealth doesn't show up in applause. It shows up in alignment. It shows up when you stop being casual with your potential. Think about it. What would happen if you lived for the next 90 days like your financial breakthrough depended on today? No waiting, no whining, just war. You'd wake up with precision. You'd cut the distractions. You'd train like a soldier. You'd sell like a leader. You'd build like you were chosen, because you are. This path, it doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to be obsessed. Obsessed with becoming better. Obsessed with stretching further. Obsessed with doing the things nobody sees. So one day, you can live in a way nobody believes. So stop negotiating with laziness. Stop flirting with mediocrity. Stop acting like you have time. You are in the middle of the window right now. The sacred window. The one between who you are and who you could be. And it's closing. Slowly. Every minute. Every hour. Every excuse. So rise. Rise into the man or woman who doesn't need motivation, because they are led by mission. And when you are mission-led, you don't just attract wealth. You become it. Then lock in, because we're only just approaching the depth where destiny lives. This isn't just about making money. This is about making yourself, the kind of self that commands a life others only dream about. Because wealth isn't chasing you. It's hiding behind the discipline you've been avoiding. It's behind the early mornings you keep snoozing, the deep work you keep delaying, the bold decisions you keep shrinking away from. You want to be wealthy? Then you have to learn how to confront yourself, not occasionally, daily. Look yourself in the mirror and ask, did I work today like someone who expects millions? Did I create, lead, and move like someone who refuses to be average? Or did I coast? Did I comply? Did I let life lead me instead of leading it? Wealth doesn't respond to busyness. It responds to boldness. And boldness lives where most people never dare to go, right through the middle of fear. That's why wealth building is not for the weak. It's for the focused, the obsessed, the rare few who know that pressure is not a problem. It's a platform. Every challenge is training. Every failure is refinement. Every delay is designed to deepen your fire. Because wealth isn't something you earn just with hours. You earn it with identity. You become someone who must be rewarded. Because your value is so high, your standards are so locked in, and your vision is so alive that the world can't help but respond. This is why average people will never understand you. They'll say, why are you working so hard? They'll say, you should slow down. Take it easy. They don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. They don't need what you need. You're not building this for a car, not for applause. You're building this for freedom, for impact, for the peace that comes when you own your time, when you walk into rooms and don't have to ask anyone for anything. That's the fire. That's the why. Not just to get rich, but to never feel powerless again. Because when you master your work ethic, when you turn effort into identity, When you out-discipline your doubt, you stop chasing success, and success starts chasing you. So, how do you motivate yourself to work hard toward wealth? You don't wait to feel inspired. You decide that your future is non-negotiable, and then you work like your freedom is on the line, because it is. You work like a man possessed. You move like a woman on fire. You build like a soul who's tired of scarcity, tired of pretending, tired of being something less than what they were born to be. You don't need hype. You need conviction. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a perfect decision. And that decision is made in this moment. To stop playing small, to stop waiting, to stop hoping, and to build the version of you that earns everything you once begged for. Then let's keep going, because you weren't made for halfway. You weren't made for mediocrity, for comfort, for someday. You were made to rise, to create wealth not just with your hands, but with your character. Because real wealth isn't in what you own, it's in who you are when no one's looking. It's in your habits. It's in your hunger. It's in your standards. And most people, they don't lack talent. They don't lack time. They lack standards. They accept average work. They accept average effort. They accept average results. But not you. You're not here to make a living. You're here to make a mark. And that means one thing. Every day is a test of will, a test of focus, a test of whether you're willing to outgrow your old self. Because wealth doesn't come to the version of you that wants it. It comes to the version of you that's worthy of it. And worthiness isn't inherited, it's earned. So stop trying to get rich on a mindset built for survival. Stop trying to succeed with routines built for escape. Stop trying to build a legacy on the schedule of someone who's still just trying. This is not about trying. It's about becoming, and becoming is painful. It requires the death of who you've been. The death of old habits, old excuses, old stories that say, I'm not ready. I'm not smart enough. I'm not like them. Yes, you are. You're exactly like them if you're willing to pay the price. Not with luck. Not with shortcuts. With execution. Get up early. Stay up late. Block out noise. Read what others ignore. Invest in what others fear. Work when others sleep. Study when others scroll. Act when others wait. Not because it's easy, but because it's required. This is the cost. The cost of freedom. The cost of owning your life. The cost of building wealth that doesn't just bless you, but generations after you. And let this be the line in the sand. From this moment forward, you don't work for money. You work for mission. You work for mastery. You work to become so damn valuable that money chases you. You don't need luck. You don't need pity. You don't even need motivation. You just need a reason that's bigger than your excuses. And if you've got that, if your why is sacred, then your how becomes relentless. Because when you work hard toward wealth with clarity, with hunger, with honor, there is no force on earth that can stop you. Then stand still for a moment, not to pause, but to lock in. Because what I'm about to say isn't just the end of a speech. It's the beginning of a revolution inside you. If you want wealth, true wealth, you have to stop asking for it and start earning it. Not by working harder than everyone else, but by becoming the one who never stops. You become the standard, the example, the quiet storm that builds in silence and arrives in force. You wake up each morning and whisper, I don't need it easy. I just need it mine. You wipe the doubt from your face and lace up the mindset of a millionaire in motion. Because wealth is not a reward for the gifted. It's the inevitable result of alignment between who you are and who you refuse to die without becoming. The late nights are yours. The early mornings yours. The discipline, the discomfort, the daily choices, no one sees yours. And because of that, so is the freedom. So is the power. So is the legacy. You are not tired. You are tapping in. You are not stuck. You are loading greatness. You are not lost. You are building the map one decision at a time. So no more waiting. No more wishing. No more craving a life that can only be created. Create it. Wake up and move like the person you're here to be. Speak like it. Think like it. Work like it. Walk like your name belongs on buildings. Speak like your blood carries royalty. Act like your family's freedom depends on what you do today. Because it does. You are not chasing wealth anymore. You are becoming wealth. So build every day, every hour, every rep, every breath. Build like the world has no idea what's coming. Because it doesn't. But you do. You know exactly who you are. And from this moment forward, the world will know it too. The pain you feel right now, it's not punishment. It's potential knocking. But most people hear the knock and run the other way. They say, why is this so hard? They say, I just wish it were easier. But here's the truth. The goal was never for life to be easy. The goal was to become stronger. Wishing for easy is the anthem of the uncommitted. It is the lullaby of the lost. Because life will never hand you peace. Life hands you pressure. And it's your response to that pressure that defines you. You don't build power and comfort. You build it in the forge. You build it in the struggle. You build it when everything in you wants to quit and you keep going anyway. So stop wishing for things to get lighter. Start lifting heavier. Stop praying for the rain to stop. Learn to dance in it. Stop begging for the road to smooth out. Grow boots tough enough to march it anyway. Because the truth is simple. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're just becoming. And becoming hurts. Becoming requires fire. Not to destroy you, to refine you. But you have to want it. Want it more than comfort. More than safety. More than the opinions of those who gave up on their own dreams. You have to want growth more than ease. Because ease is a liar. It promises peace and delivers emptiness. But growth gives you something nothing else can, becoming unstoppable. It begins in the mind. Everything you are, everything you're not, everything you could be, it all begins in the silent war happening inside your head. Do you tell yourself, I can't do this? Or do you say, I will find a way? Do you shrink when it gets heavy? Or do you rise and say, this is what I was built for? Your mindset is not a luxury. It is your foundation. And if that foundation is cracked by excuses, it will collapse under pressure. But if that foundation is fortified with discipline, with purpose, with vision, then no storm can shake you. Every time you choose growth over ease, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. Every time you say no to distraction, no to delay, no to the voice inside that whispers, take the shortcut, you carve character into your soul. And that character, that relentless, unbreakable character, becomes the armor you wear through life. You see, discipline is not deprivation. It is devotion. Devotion to your future self. Devotion to the version of you that's waiting on the other side of hard things. Because there is no victory without sacrifice. No glory without grind. No transformation without tenacity. And tenacity doesn't scream. It whispers. It shows up early. It stays late. It does the work even when no one's watching. Most people don't lose to failure. They lose to fatigue, to boredom, to the seductive comfort of good enough. But you are not most people. You are the few, the rare, the relentless, the one who doesn't fold when it gets dark, but sharpens your vision to see through it. Because vision is not something you stumble into. It's something you build. You build it when you stop living by what you feel and start living by what you know. And what you know is this: the most powerful force on earth is not talent, not money, not luck. It's a human being who refuses to quit. So don't ask for it to be easy. Ask to be exceptional. Not someday, not when you feel like it, but today, right now, in this breath. Build the habits, do the work, repeat the reps, raise your standards, reclaim your time, because every day you wish for ease is a day you lose to average. But every day you choose to grow even 1% is a day you become someone no storm can stop. Because this is not just motivation. This is the sound of your old life dying and your new self awakening. You see, the difference between where you are and where you could be is not a miracle. It's not some cosmic alignment. It's not luck or fate or a perfect set of circumstances. It's discipline. It's focus. It's how many times you're willing to say no to what's easy so you can say yes to what's worth it. You don't need everything to go right. You just need to go forward. Every time you choose the higher road, every time you do what others avoid, you are carving a life that most people will never touch. Not because they couldn't, but because they wouldn't. They wanted it easy. But you wanted to be better. And that desire, that rare, sacred desire to become instead of escape, that's where transformation begins. Because there's a war going on inside you between the version of you that seeks comfort and the version of you that seeks conquest. The question is, which voice will you listen to? One says, just rest a little longer. The other says, get up. We've got work to do. One says, take a break, no one's watching. The other says, act like the whole world is depending on this moment. One says, this is too much. The other says, this is just enough to make you stronger. And every time you choose the second voice, every time you push when it hurts, stay when it's boring, rise when you fall, you are not just improving, you are ascending. This isn't about motivation anymore. It's about alignment. You are aligning your thoughts with action, your action with purpose, your purpose with power. And that power is not loud. It doesn't need attention. It doesn't post. It doesn't boast. It builds. It builds in the silence, in the sweat, in the sacrifices nobody sees. You are not becoming great by accident. You are becoming great by decision. And that decision to stop wishing it were easier and start demanding more from yourself. That is the dividing line. That's where everything changes, where life stops happening to you and starts happening through you. So burn the list of excuses. Delete the fantasy of the easy way. Set fire to the version of you that only shows up when it feels good. And rise. Rise like the entire weight of your destiny depends on it. Because it does. You weren't put here to coast. You weren't born to blend in. You weren't created to cope. You were born to conquer, to face the mountain, to walk through the storm, to train your soul in the furnace of adversity, until there is nothing left inside you but steel and fire and the unshakable knowing that you will not be denied. So don't ever again wish for things to come easy. Wish with every breath, with every fiber, with every sunrise, to be better than you were yesterday. Because when you get better, everything gets better. Because here's the part most won't accept. Growth hurts. Evolution is brutal. Becoming the next version of you means killing the current one. Not softly, not gently, with surgical force. You don't stumble into greatness. You sacrifice for it. You bleed for it. You die to comfort 1,000 times for it. And that pain, that tension between where you are and where you could be, that is sacred. It is not something to escape. It is something to enter. Because the man or woman you were born to be is buried under layers of fear, laziness, validation, addiction, and excuses. And the only way to find them is to dig. Dig when you're tired. Dig when you're doubting. Dig when everything in you says stop and your soul whispers, keep going. Because every day you dig, you get closer to the gold. Not the kind you spend, but the kind you become. Let me say this with fire in my lungs. You don't get rich in life by chasing money. You get rich by building value. And value is built when you build yourself. You build value by showing up when no one's clapping, by doing the hard thing when no one's watching, by becoming so consistent, so focused, so intentional that the world has to take notice because your results are louder than any words you could ever say. You want to live on your terms? Then build the kind of character that deserves that freedom. You want to walk in rooms and shift the energy? Then build the kind of presence forged in early mornings, late nights, sacrifices that make no sense to others, and standards that most will call too much. Good. Let them. You're not here to fit in. You're here to rise. You're here to become a force of nature. The kind of person whose habits are stronger than emotion, whose vision is bigger than the obstacles, whose mind is harder than the mountain. Because when you stop wishing for easy and start living like your life is on the line every single day, you become undeniable. Not overnight, but over hundreds of ordinary days stacked with extraordinary effort. So if today is hard, good, let it break you open. Let it burn the excuses. Let it teach you how much more you are capable of. Because with every rep, with every early wake up, with every temptation you reject, you are building something the weak can't even imagine. And one day, they'll ask how you did it. And you'll smile because they'll never understand. You didn't pray for ease. You prayed for strength. And then you built it with your bare hands. You became the answer. You became the proof. You became the fire. Understand this. You don't get remembered for what you avoided. You get remembered for what you endured, for what you overcame, for what you became in the middle of the pressure, when every voice said stop and your soul screamed, not yet. Because here's the truth that will outlive us all. The greatest battle you'll ever fight is the one within. It's not the economy. It's not your upbringing. It's not your past. It's the moment you stare into the mirror and decide that who you've been is no longer enough, that the comfort zone has become a cage, and that the only way out is through the fire. You can't cheat the process. You can't shortcut greatness. You can't hack becoming unstoppable. It's earned, one brutal, beautiful, relentless step at a time. So stop asking for signs. You are the sign. Stop waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle if you choose to wake up and walk like it. Because no one is coming to make it easier. No one is coming to do the work for you. But the day you stop wishing for it to be easier and instead start becoming the person who can handle the hard, that's the day the whole game changes. The path doesn't get smoother. You get stronger. The weights don't get lighter. You get more powerful. The challenges don't disappear, but you stop fearing them because you realize every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. Every delay is a setup for greater depth. Every loss is sharpening your blade. And one day, you'll look back and smile, not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. You'll see how every early morning, every tear you didn't post, every moment you chose discipline over distraction, built something sacred, a life of integrity, a spirit of fire, and a mind that doesn't just survive, it commands. So remember this every single day. You don't need life to hand you anything. You just need to wake up and ask more from yourself. More focus, more heart, more consistency, more courage. because you're not in competition with anyone else. You're in a war with the version of you that settles. And that version loses today because you're done wishing. You're done waiting. You're done hoping for a softer world. You're building yourself to handle the one that exists. And that is where freedom begins. That is where power is born. That is when life finally says, now you're ready. So go. Live like your life is a masterpiece in progress. Think like the world is being built through you. Act like every step matters because it does. And rise, not for ease, but for greatness. They lied to you, not because they wanted to hurt you, but because they didn't know better. They told you success was a destination, a place you arrive at, a title you earn, a house you buy, a car you drive, a number in your bank account. They said if you work hard, say the right things, shake the right hands, maybe, just maybe, you'd get there. But they never told you the truth. The truth is, success isn't a finish line. It's not a reward. It's not something you get. Success is something you build every day, brick by invisible brick, when no one's watching and everything inside you wants to quit. Success is not what you have, it's who you become. It's in the way you speak when no one's listening. It's in the decisions you make when the pressure is real. It's in the quiet promises you keep to yourself when motivation is gone and discipline is the only thing left standing. You don't create success by shouting. You don't create success by faking. You don't create success by chasing the appearance of it. You create success by becoming a person who can't help but attract it because of how solid, how disciplined, how convicted you've trained your soul to be. Success is not given. It's not inherited. It's forged. Forged in early mornings and late nights. Forged in self-doubt and still showing up. Forged in the moment you decide to stop blaming your past, your parents, your boss, the system, and start owning every second of your future. Real success doesn't look like applause. It looks like alignment. It looks like getting up and doing the work when no one understands your vision. It looks like choosing integrity when shortcuts are everywhere. It looks like delaying gratification when everyone else is cashing out for comfort. It's the way you carry yourself when nothing is working, because you know something deeper is being worked on inside you. Success doesn't knock. It doesn't arrive. It doesn't show up at your door with balloons. Success is summoned, pulled toward you by the gravity of your character, by the energy of your excellence, by the clarity of your intention. And the truth is, success doesn't care how you feel. It responds to how you move. It doesn't answer to your hopes. It answers to your habits. It doesn't care what you post. It cares what you practice. You can talk like a winner and still lose if your actions betray your words. But when you align the unseen, your thoughts, your discipline, your mindset, with the actions you repeat daily, you become unstoppable. Because now, success isn't something you're chasing. It's something you're becoming, something you're radiating, something that echoes from your presence before you ever say a word. That is the truth they never told you. And now that you know, the question is simple. Will you build it? Success begins where most people stop, right at the edge of boredom, right in the middle of repetition, right after the excitement fades and the real work starts. Because here's what they never teach you. Success is boring. It's not glamorous. It's not highlight reels and fireworks. It's waking up over and over and choosing to do what matters most, even when it doesn't feel magical. It's mastering the mundane, falling in love with the fundamentals. It's writing when no one's reading, practicing when no one's clapping, serving when no one's noticing. And it's in those quiet repetitions, stacked day after day, that greatness is born. But the average mind can't handle boredom, so they quit. They jump to something new, something shinier, and they start again chasing dopamine, chasing validation, chasing a shortcut that doesn't exist. That's why you must choose to be different, to endure what most won't, to value consistency over novelty, depth over speed, mastery over popularity. Because in the long run, it's not the smartest who win. It's the most devoted. The ones who don't just dabble, they decide. Who don't just plan, they build. And the building isn't loud. It's not sexy. It's slow, relentless, brick by brick. And if you're not careful, you'll mistake slowness for failure. But slowness isn't failure. Slowness is foundation. The deeper the roots, the stronger the tree. And if you want success that lasts, not success that flashes and fades, you must dig. You must go deep when others go fast. You must go long when others go loud. You must show up when others sit down. Because the truth is, success won't meet you halfway. It will wait at the end of your commitment, at the edge of your effort, just past your excuses. That's where it lives. Not in your vision board, not in your hashtag, in your grit, in your grind, in your grace under pressure. In the days you want to give up but don't. In the choices you make when nobody would know if you slacked off. That's where real success is hiding, and it's watching. Watching how you treat the little things. Watching how you act when you think no one sees. Watching whether your standards bend when it gets hard. And if you prove yourself worthy not with talent but with tenacity, then it begins to move. Slowly at first, quietly, but then momentum. And momentum doesn't ask permission, it builds, it multiplies. It breaks barriers that logic said couldn't move. And suddenly, what once felt impossible becomes your new baseline. Because success doesn't change your life, you change your life. And success responds. So now we strip away the lies, the illusions, the highlight reels. We talk about the real, the part no one posts. The long nights with no reward. The early mornings with no applause. The moments when doubt wraps around your throat like a vice and whispers, "Who do you think you are?" The truth is, success isn't made in crowds. It's forged in the quiet. It's built in the unshared hours. It's who you are when no one is watching, when the cameras are off, when the inbox is empty, when the likes are silent. That's when it happens. That's when the real work begins. When you show up anyway. When you stay true anyway. When you deliver anyway. Because you know that success doesn't show up on schedule. It shows up for those who stay. Who keep the promise long after the mood has left. Who've trained themselves to act from conviction, not convenience. You don't need more time. You need more truth. The truth that most people aren't willing to face. That comfort is a trap. That chasing approval will kill your authenticity. That waiting for motivation is just another excuse to do nothing. You don't need motivation. You need standards. You need systems. You need rituals that turn chaos into order, weakness into rhythm, and emotion into action. Because success isn't for the most emotional, it's for the most equipped. And equipping yourself means doing the work before the reward shows up. It means believing without proof, acting without praise, and rising without permission. That's what separates those who try from those who transform. That's why most people stay average. Because they wait to feel ready. Because they fear being misunderstood. Because they want guarantees in a game that only rewards grit. And here's the irony, the success you crave, the future you dream of, the life you're chasing. It's not hiding behind talent. It's hiding behind your patterns. Behind what you repeat, what you tolerate, what you allow, what you reinforce with your habits, your focus, your discipline. So ask yourself, what do I do when it's hard? What do I do when no one's clapping? What do I do when it's boring, slow, uncertain? Because how you answer that is your truth, not what you post, not what you say, what you do, daily, repeatedly, especially when it's difficult. That's where success is hiding, not in the future, but in your default settings. Change those, and everything changes. So here it is, the truth they never printed in books, never taught in classrooms, never said on stages filled with lights and smiles. Success is not a mystery. It's not magic. It's not reserved for the lucky or the loud. It's earned day by day, by the ones who refuse to be ordinary, by the ones who choose alignment over applause, by the ones who are willing to be misunderstood today so they can be undeniable tomorrow. You want to create success? Then you must break the addiction to comfort. You must trade convenience for conviction. You must stop negotiating with your limitations and start renegotiating your future. Because success is not something you chase, it's something you construct. It's built in how you think, how you speak, how you show up, not once in a while, but always. It's not found in the grand gesture, it's found in the daily grit, in the hours no one counts, in the sacrifices no one sees, in the commitments no one claps for. It's what you build in the silence that echoes the loudest. And when you build long enough, true enough, hard enough, the world begins to respond, not immediately, not all at once, but unavoidably. Because success is not a lightning strike. It's a rising tide. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be brilliant. You need to be relentless, unapologetic in your standards, unshakable in your principles, unstoppable in your execution. That's what builds momentum. That's what creates results. That's what moves mountains. You want to rise? Then root yourself in truth, in growth, in mastery, not in image, not in hype, not in trying to look successful, but in becoming someone who no longer has to try. Because when success lives inside you, discipline, clarity, courage, ownership, it becomes impossible for the world not to feel it. You won't have to prove yourself. You'll just be it. Walk in rooms and shift the energy. Lead with calm when others panic. Stand firm when others beg for validation. Because success, real success, is magnetic, but only to those who carry it with quiet certainty. And that certainty doesn't come from ego. It comes from alignment. From building a life, a rhythm, a pattern where every thought, every word, every choice reflects the future you've decided to create. So now you stand at the edge. No more illusions. No more waiting. No more excuses dressed as logic. You know what it takes. You know it's not about luck, not about talent, not about someone picking you. It's about you picking yourself again and again and again until the world has no choice but to recognize what you've become. Because success doesn't come when you want it. It comes when you've earned it. Through choices no one applauded. Through sacrifices no one understood. Through repetitions no one respected until the result was undeniable. You want to know how to create success? You create it like a sculptor carves stone, by chipping away at everything that isn't you, at every lie, every fear, every excuse, every limitation that said stay safe when your soul said go. You create it by becoming the kind of person who can carry what you're asking for. Because success doesn't respond to hope. It responds to preparation. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you're ready for. So become ready. Get your mind right. Get your soul aligned. Build habits that match your ambition. Raise standards that make average uncomfortable. Set boundaries that protect your focus. Move like the future is yours because it is if you're bold enough to claim it. There will be days you fall. Get up. There will be days you doubt. Get clear. There will be days you're tired. Keep moving. Because the truth is this: no one's coming to save you. But no one needs to, because you have everything inside you to save yourself. You don't need more time. You need more intention. You don't need more followers. You need more follow through. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a permanent decision. And when you make it, when you truly make it, life moves. The right people show up. The right doors crack open. The right momentum begins to flow. Because the universe doesn't respond to fear, it responds to faith expressed through action. So don't wait another year. Don't wait for more certainty. Don't wait for someone to validate your vision. Start. Start scared. Start unsure. Start underprepared. Just start. And don't stop. Because the truth about how to create success is this: you don't wish for it. You work for it. You become it. You embody it. And when you do, the world doesn't just watch, it follows. Most people write to be liked. But influence, real influence, isn't built through popularity. It's built through precision, through words that carry weight, through sentences that don't just inform, they move people. Because in business, writing isn't a task, it's a weapon. Every email, every post, every message is a test. Can you hold attention? Can you create clarity? Can you spark belief? If not, you're invisible. But if you can, you rise. Because those who shape words shape minds. And those who shape minds move markets. That's the writing you're here to master. Not fluff, not filler, not empty noise camouflaged as cleverness, but writing that commands, that shifts, that ignites, that cuts through the fog like a sword through silence. Writing that gets clients to trust, teams to move, investors to lean in, buyers to click, and people, real people, to feel seen, understood, and inspired to act. But let's get one thing straight. Powerful writing in business isn't about sounding smart. It's about making them feel smart. It's not about showcasing your vocabulary. It's about unlocking their vision. It's not a performance, it's a service. The better you write, the more clearly they see themselves succeeding with you. So where does it begin? It begins with clarity. Clarity isn't just a nice thing, it's the thing. If your message isn't clear, it doesn't matter how creative it is. Confused people don't buy, they don't follow, they don't move. And in a world drowning in content, clarity is a lifeline. To write with clarity, you must think with clarity. You must know exactly who you're talking to, what they're feeling, what they fear, and where they want to go. You're not writing to impress them. You're writing to join them in their tension and then show them the way out. Clarity isn't soft. It's not boring. It's sharp. It cuts through the fog. It says, here, this is the truth. This is what matters. This is what's possible. And when done right, it pierces through resistance and lands straight in the heart. Then comes rhythm. Because writing isn't just what you say, it's how it flows. Influence lives in cadence. Power lives in pacing. You don't just type words. You conduct them. You orchestrate tension. You shape silence. You decide when to punch, when to pause, when to press, when to breathe. A powerful sentence is more than language. It's a lever. It lifts belief. It moves action. It opens doors in the reader's mind that were previously locked. So write like a sculptor, cut everything that doesn't serve the form. Write like a musician, feel the beat of your words. Write like a boxer, know when to jab, when to strike, and when to hold. And never forget, emotion is the engine. Logic informs, but emotion transforms. If your writing doesn't move them, it won't matter how accurate it is. If they don't feel something, they won't do anything. That's not manipulation, that's connection. Because before people decide what's true, they decide what's real. And real always feels first. You're not just giving information. You're giving permission. Permission to believe, to dream, to change. And every line should walk them closer to the person they want to become with you, through you, because of what you wrote. Tone is the soul of your writing. It's not just what you say, it's how they hear it in their head. Tone is what makes someone lean in instead of scroll past. What makes your words feel like a conversation instead of a commercial. What makes your voice unforgettable. In business, your tone must carry confidence without ego, warmth without weakness, authority without arrogance. It's the difference between shouting and shining, between pressure and presence. A confident tone says, I've done the work. A clear tone says, you're safe here. A real tone says, I see you. And when your writing embodies that energy, it doesn't just transfer information, it transfers trust. That's influence. And that's how you win. Next, anchor your writing in identity. Because in a noisy marketplace, the strongest voice always wins. But a strong voice doesn't mean loud. It means rooted. Rooted in your beliefs, your style, your rhythm, your stance. Don't sound like everyone else. Don't chase the trending tone. Don't water yourself down to appeal to more people. That's how you end up reaching no one. The more specific your voice, the more magnetic your writing becomes. Be bold, be direct, be unmistakable. Because the truth is, if your writing sounds like it could come from anyone, then it won't mean anything to anyone. Specificity is your scalpel. Vagueness is the enemy of persuasion. If your reader has to guess what you mean, they're already gone. Your writing should not only be vivid, it should be surgical. Every word should feel chosen. Every line should feel earned. Don't say better business. Say triple your recurring revenue in 6 months without adding staff. Don't say help you grow. Say help you break through that revenue ceiling you've been stuck under for 2 years. Specific writing is felt. It's trusted. It hits like truth. Because it doesn't just speak to the mind, it mirrors the reader's experience. And that's where storytelling comes in. Stories are not entertainment. They're transportation. A great story doesn't just teach, it transfers. It takes the reader from where they are into a moment, a lesson, a vision. And inside that story, they don't just learn, they feel. And once they feel, they move. Don't just tell them you overcame something, show them the night you almost quit. Don't just claim your strategy works. Walk them through the mess before the breakthrough. Don't just state your values. Show them what you said no to when it would have been easier to say yes. Because story makes your writing stick. It doesn't bounce off the surface. It roots itself inside them and lingers. And here's the truth no one wants to hear. If your words don't linger, your brand won't either. Authority isn't declared, it's demonstrated. And in writing, authority doesn't come from saying, I'm an expert. It comes from writing in a way that proves you are without ever needing to say it. Because real authority doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it doesn't boast. Real authority is quiet power. It's confidence wrapped in clarity. It's precision that pierces without pressure. And the most powerful way to write with authority is to write like someone who knows the struggle, knows the solution, knows the stakes, and knows how to lead someone from confusion to conviction. Your writing builds authority when it leads, not when it entertains, not when it impresses, when it leads, line by line, word by word. It walks the reader from, I don't know what to do, to, this is the way forward. And the secret? It's not about you. It's about them. The more deeply you understand them, the more undeniable your authority becomes. Because in a world full of writers who want attention, the ones who earn influence are the ones who offer clarity. So, how do you convert without selling? How do you move hearts and wallets without manipulation? You stop pushing and you start aligning. You write in a way that reflects their reality. You meet them in their moment. You articulate their problem better than they've ever heard it described. And then, when you present the offer, it doesn't feel like a pitch. It feels like a path. Persuasion isn't about pressure. It's about precision. It's not about changing minds. It's about unlocking what's already there. That means knowing the real pain underneath the surface level complaint. That means naming the desire behind the data. That means painting a picture of the outcome so clear they can feel themselves living in it. Conversion writing is service-driven. It's not, here's why I'm amazing. It's, here's what you've been stuck in, and here's how we walk out together. And if you want your writing to build lasting influence, it must reshape identity. Because the most powerful writing doesn't just shift thoughts. It shifts self-perception. It takes someone from, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stuck, I'm behind, to, I'm capable, I'm ready, I'm done waiting. That kind of writing doesn't talk at people. It talks to the part of them that's been waiting to be woken up. So write to the future version of your reader, the version that's braver, bolder, clearer. Speak to their potential, not their pain. Don't just show them what's wrong, show them who they can become. And when they feel seen by your writing, when they recognize themselves in your words, they won't just follow you. They'll thank you. They'll remember you. And they'll move because of you. Because at the end of the day, writing isn't just about communication. It's about creation. You are not just writing content. You are building bridges, opening doors, lighting torches. You are creating momentum where there was once paralysis. vision where there was once fog, power where there was once doubt. And when you understand that, you stop treating your writing like a task on a to-do list. You start treating it like the lever that moves everything else. Because it is. The right words can unlock a sale. The right message can shift a market. The right sentence can rewire a person's self-belief for life. That's not hype. That's the quiet truth behind every influential brand, every meaningful movement, every lasting business. Someone wrote something powerful enough to make someone else believe again. So if you're serious about building influence in business, don't start with your funnel. Start with your pen, with your process, with your intention, with your obsession with clarity, your reverence for rhythm, your demand for depth. Because writing isn't something you do once the real work is done. Writing is the work. It's where the vision gets shaped. It's where the voice gets found. It's where the value gets proven before you ever speak a word or sell a thing. And the most successful people in business, they write with identity. They write with intention. They write like leaders, not because they want attention, but because they want to serve at scale. So don't just write to publish. Write to pierce, to provoke, to clarify, to convert, to empower, to elevate, to lead. And when you do that, when your writing starts breathing with the heartbeat of someone who cares, people will notice. They'll feel it. They'll remember it. And more importantly, they'll respond to it. Because writing done right doesn't just create content. It creates connection. It creates conviction. And in the end, it creates change. So write like it matters. Because it does. Write like your future depends on it. Because it might. Write like it's your legacy being carved, one line at a time. Because that's exactly what it is. And when it's all said and done, and your business has scaled, and your brand has grown, and your influence has reached places you never imagined, you'll look back and realize it started with one sentence, one truth, one choice to write like a leader, and never look back. Let me tell you a secret most people spend their whole lives avoiding. Safety is the greatest illusion ever sold. And the price you pay for chasing it is your potential. Every great thing you've ever dreamed of, every bold goal you've dared to write down, lives on the other side of risk. Not because life is cruel, not because success is reserved for the lucky, but because growth requires movement, and movement requires uncertainty. You don't evolve in safety. You don't grow in comfort. And you definitely don't reach your greatest self by doing what you already know. You were not built to stay in one place. There is something in your spirit that craves expansion, that needs to break the walls of what's familiar so you can meet the version of you haven't become yet. And that's the real reason why risk is required. Because until you step into the unknown, you don't just avoid failure, you also avoid transformation. Until you take the leap, you'll never know what wings were waiting to unfold. You can stay safe, or you can become powerful. But you can't be both. Look around. Every person who has ever inspired you risked. They risked rejection. They risked failure. They risked being misunderstood, laughed at, walked away from. But they chose the discomfort of becoming over the illusion of security. Why? Because deep down they knew the risk of regret is always greater than the risk of failure. Because fear rarely announces itself as fear. It speaks with the voice of logic. It wears the mask of being realistic. It whispers things like, now's not the right time. What if you lose everything? Or, you're not ready yet. But that's not wisdom. That's not caution. That's camouflaged fear. Fear that has learned to speak in the language of justification. You call it timing. You call it strategy. You call it preparation. But what you're really doing is postponing your life. And here's what's cruel. Every day you delay your leap, your confidence erodes. Every time you ignore that inner pull, your belief withers. And one day you don't even need fear to stop you because you've trained yourself to stay small. Most people don't fail because they risked and lost. They fail because they never leapt at all. They wake up in the same job with the same habits, around the same people, telling the same story that they're waiting for the right moment. But the right moment is not something you wait for. It's something you decide to make. You don't become legendary by playing defense. You don't build an extraordinary life by avoiding discomfort. You rise by choosing to feel fear and move anyway. Every risk you avoid today becomes a boundary for tomorrow. And soon, you don't live in freedom. You live in a fenced version of your potential. You pace around your own limits and call it being responsible. But it's not responsibility. It's resignation. It's surrender, dressed up in excuses. You want power? Then you have to be willing to risk comfort. You want growth? Then you have to be willing to risk familiarity. You want greatness? Then you have to be willing to risk being seen, being stretched, and maybe even failing but rising anyway. Because the truth is this: risk doesn't just shape outcomes. It reveals who you are. It pulls the curtain back. It strips away comfort and exposes your character. When the guarantee is gone, who do you become? Do you retreat or do you rise? You see, uncertainty is not your enemy, it's your training ground. It's where strength is formed. It's where resilience is forged, not by what you avoid, but by what you walk through. You don't become strong by reading about risk. You become strong by stepping into it again and again until the fear becomes familiar and the unknown becomes home. Because every time you risk, you reclaim power. Not because the outcome is guaranteed, but because you decided you were worth the attempt. You said, "I will not let comfort keep me caged." You said, "I'd rather be stretched than safe." You said, "I am not here to play small." And something changes in you when you live like that. You stop begging life to hand you certainty, and you start building the capacity to lead through uncertainty. That's when people notice. That's when your energy shifts. That's when doors open. Not because you knocked, but because your energy breaks walls. Because people don't follow the most talented. They follow the bravest. The ones who risk being wrong. The ones who speak when it's hard. The ones who move when it's messy. The ones who go first. And here's the truth that sets the courageous apart. You don't rise by being fearless. You rise by being faithful in spite of fear. Then listen closely, because this is where it all comes together. Risk is not recklessness. It's not carelessness. It's not blind ambition. Risk is reverence. It's saying to life, I trust what's inside of me more than I fear what's in front of me. It's honoring your calling with movement. It's proving to yourself that your dreams are not decoration, they are destiny. And destiny doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to boldness. There is no such thing as a meaningful life without risk. Because anything worth living for, love, purpose, freedom, greatness, it all demands something of you. It asks you to let go of who you were so you can become who you're meant to be. It asks you to lose certainty and find conviction. It asks you to surrender comfort and pick up courage. It asks you to walk forward even when the road is foggy, even when the voices say, play it safe, even when your knees shake and say, I'm doing it anyway. Because you don't get to keep your old life and build a new one. You don't get to keep your comfort and claim your calling. You don't get to stay safe and rise. You have to choose. And here's the miracle. When you choose risk, you unlock revelation. You meet parts of yourself that only pressure can reveal. You discover strength you didn't know you had. You become magnetic not because you're fearless, but because you've been through fear and kept going. And soon you'll realize the risk wasn't risking at all. The real risk was never risking anything. The real danger was letting the dream die inside you because you were too afraid to trust the wings that were waiting to grow. So today, if you hear that voice calling you to stretch, to leap, to move, listen to it. That's not recklessness. That's not foolishness. That's life inviting you into greatness. And your job is to say yes.